Good evening, folks. We are on the bench today, doing something a little bit different. I recently posted a video. It was really just like a sort of little test clip of an onboard shot, which I will show you now. And basically a few people asked me how I did it. I've since posted the full video up, and a few more people have asked how did I mount it. So instead of replying to everybody individually and trying to explain, I thought I would just make a video demonstrating how I mounted to the front, how I mounted to the back, and I also have some metal here for another mounting idea. So let's get to it. So the first time I did it, I actually just mounted this metal piece that I've got, which is intended for use on a bicycle seat, basically. Just had it mounted in that sort of fashion. And I tested that, and once I realised that that worked well, and that was just on the body, which isn't the tightest of fitting things, I thought maybe I can try something else as well. So basically these are just the plastic pieces that are like brace the ends of the SCX10 chassis, and typically you'd have slightly different ones for using a bumper, and these are just the plain ones that you can buy from Axial. I'll put the part number on the screen if I can find it, and probably a link to them as well. What I thought was, if I drilled some holes through, I could attach that quite easily and attach the camera to it. And then I also thought, well, why not try and get some angle from the side? Because this is basically actually two pieces, this little piece here separates. It's got this extra piece here which is threaded so you can fit them together, and that piece had to run like that, and that was sort of the idea. It wasn't the most secure of mounting positions, because not only did cutting them bits out actually weaken it and make it more flexible, which is what I was trying to avoid, it's also just very, very flexible. So I've got this piece of steel here, and my idea is to actually run the steel under the chassis a bit. Obviously I'm going to have to cut it down, but just to give you an idea, it'll be bent about somewhere around there, and then that will go into the holes that already exist there and there, which hold the skid plate on, and also hold my extra little metal skid plate thingy on there. And the reason for that is, I feel if I can get it running underneath the chassis for the camera to sit on that side, and put some counterweights stuck on this side, it'll be better for the weight distribution. Another advantage that is, it'll simply be held on with these two bolts, which I can take out, pull the mount off, flip it around and put it in that side. And because the weights will be attached to the piece of metal itself, it will be perfect weight distribution either way. And I also don't have to run these horrible plastic crap looking rock sliders as they're supposed to be, but they just look like crap, so I never really run them. That's only on there to try and film, which is why there isn't one on the other side. I thought I'd bring you down here just to make it a bit easier to see. So basically, that metal piece there, just a couple of bolts through and a couple of nuts on the back to hold it in place, and you've just got a standard small extension arm, slightly longer extension arm, and then the Hero Session sat in the case there. The advantage of this is you can swing it around like that if you want it a bit further away, then just turn it in. That's probably about roughly where I had it. Not absolutely ideal, but it did the job. And basically these are obviously universal fit, front or rear, so all you would have to do, screw out of there, screw out of there, and attach it to the rear, and you'd have the same sort of angle, but from the rear obviously facing forward. And the good thing about the Hero Session is that the clasp is very stiff for one, but also you can just pull the camera out, turn it around, and suddenly you're filming forwards. You could then go like that, spin it around, and you've got the perfect angle of the other side. Just a slightly different sort of view. Adds something a bit more dynamic to your videos and the views that you can give. And then obviously same principle, spin it around. If you want to film looking forwards, you can push it in like that for a real sort of wheel's eye view, so to speak. You just have to make sure that when you're turning and things that you've got clearance, but apart from that, so that's basically that mount. For those who were asking, there was quite a few people actually. I was quite surprised by the positive reaction of this particular mount, and that's just how I've done it. These extension arms can be found on eBay, as can the metal bicycle bracket. I'll put links in the description for probably everything, just to make it easier if I remember. If there's something I've mentioned or something that you've seen that I've not spoke about and you want to know where to get it, feel free to just leave a comment on the video, or if you know me personally, send me a message or whatever. Let's get a Sharpie here. Let's just do some marking. I know roughly what the measurements need to be, but just to be sure, let's mark it up very roughly. Probably about there. How wide? If we say the bend needs to go roughly here, so there's the bend. Yep, that looks about perfect, and it probably wants to come out to roughly about there. That should be about perfect. So let's get cutting. So we've now got our little piece cut out, so we now need to just clean up the edges because it's still rough with the Dremel. So that's now bent. It's not quite as perfect as I would like it, but it's done, and that's the main thing. I apologise, I didn't get most of that on film, but I kept getting disturbed with dogs barking and that kind of thing, and just wanted to get it done, so I just went ahead and bent it anyway. But hopefully we can get the rest on film at least. So it's on now, sort of roughly. I apologise, I didn't get any real footage of it. Well, not much anyway, because I kept getting disturbed and that kind of thing, and I just wanted to get cracking on with it. Did make one small mistake of making the holes just a tiny bit too big, so I just had to put some washers on. And now the idea is I'm just going to put some wheel weights on this side to sort of counteract it, although it's countered fairly well. It's fairly well distributed is the weight. I think if I'd probably cut it off about there, I just lost that extra little bit, the either side would be matching, but it is actually sat quite straight and flat. Then that side does go down a tiny bit. Don't know if you can really see that properly or not. Tiny little bit. So I feel about 20 grams, 30 grams, something like that, wheel weights on that side right there. You still won't be able to actually see it, apart from if you look right from under, which you shouldn't. But from this side you can kind of see the effect more of how it's going to be. This is difficult one-handed. And and then the camera will sort of sit there. I could probably lose a little bit more of that to help with the weight, but that should about do. And I can also just have it sat further in if I want, and it can just push the body because it won't really see the body too much. That's not really a big deal. So it should be quite a neat angle for it to view. And of course, with it, I can just spin the camera around if I want for a rear view. Could even, if I was feeling really brave, put it underneath for a really low down point of view, and like aim it sort of that way. So you will get sort of, I can do it that kind of view. You'll be able to see all the suspension go in, and I think from that sort of angle like that. So that would also be quite neat. I've now put some wheel weights just on this side here. I put 40 grams on. The camera with its mount all in weighs 91 grams according to my scales. I didn't want to put that much on because I don't think it's needed. There was only minimal movement beforehand, so I think with that on that side, when the camera's actually on, and once I've trimmed that little bit up, that will work much better. But I still need to just finalise that, and then we'll obviously get some test footage and see what it actually looks like, and that'll come at the end of this film. If you like this video and want to see more sort of how-tos and stuff, feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. It's all very much appreciated, and enjoy the footage that follows this, and we will see you on the next one.